Yeah.
So,
obviously, once again, huge shout outs to Navigator, sponsoring this tournament, the big old title sponsor, help bringing this whole event together. You saw them sponsoring HKE, that great ceremony on the stage. And Toys, of course, happy to give out some jackets with the fans. Always good to see that kind of fan support here. All right, once again, as we wait for this to get sorted out, obviously they have a lot of time to deck build. We have a lot of time to talk about what they're going to be busting out. Is there any card that hasn't been seeing too much play that you feel like is very good? And yeah, any of the cards that you feel like are very good from the new expansion that haven't been seeing play? I know you talked about
Murloc Knight.
Which one?
I talked about Murloc Knight.
But that's seeing play. I mean, everyone in Paladin is playing Murloc Knight. I want to talk about the weird cards. Let's
weird cards. But it should be strong, right?
Yeah, I mean, Murloc Knight is insane. I think that card is crazy. But let's look at the other cards. Let's look at some of the more interesting cards, some of the neutral legendaries that people
Varian. I think Varian is pretty strong, the Warrior Legendary.
And we got into a little bit of a discussion about that earlier. I'm not the biggest fan. I think he's very powerful, as you say, but I feel like he falls short in the aggressive matchup. If we were going to see more aggressive decks early on, because while it's awesome to be able to refill your hand 3 quick cards off the 10 drop to drop some creatures onto the battlefield, against aggro, if you are at 10 mana and if you've made it that far, that's not really what you want to be doing. You want to be Alex Strozing to heal yourself up. You want to be playing a threat that's going to end the game. And while he can end the game, it's not guaranteed. And I don't like those RNG threats. But what you said, and this is very true, is that he is very good in the control matchup.
It is true that this card is not relevant in aggro matchup, but it's very strong in mid-range and control matchup because Varian is just like a 10 mana 7/7 and then draw 3 cards. Even if you don't get any minions on the board, you draw 3 cards. If you think about Arcane Intellect that is using 3 mana draw 2 cards, this card is a 7 mana
7/7. Yep.
And then 3 mana draw 3 cards. This is 1 card more than Arcane Intellect.
And of course, the value of it being paired on a single card can't be really underestimated. The ability to play that in a late game and potentially in a control matchup, I agree completely.
And even if it's aggro matchups, Control Warrior is already very good against different various aggro matchups. There's no way, I mean, there's little way you can win against a Control Warrior using Face Hunter or aggro Paladin. I think this Control Warrior is usually used to play against aggro when the meta change towards it.
Yeah. Well, looking at the Control Warrior deck list, one of the more popular kind of control variants that I'm seeing frequently from Warrior on ladder is the Dragon Warrior. And now, what do you think is stronger? Do you think the more traditional Control Warrior, where we see the full list, or do you like to see the newer, kind of more innovative Dragon Warrior coming out?
I definitely like Dragon Warrior much more than traditional Control Warrior because Dragon Warrior, it is more those cards can be more actively played. You can play the 2 mana 2/3 charge battle cry. When you have a dragon, you can add 1 attack and get charged.
Alex Strauss was chosen. Very powerful card, 3/3 charge, lets you clear out the board early on, lets you play aggressive and control mirrors, which I really like. Because in the control matchup, dropping that early threat, it means that Hemlock not as comfortable just sitting there drawing cards and waiting, using that healer power to get card advantage early on, which is definitely pretty powerful. And it feels like it has the flexibility to function to a certain degree as a mid-range deck. Obviously, most of the drops coming in from that deck are going to be a little bit more defensive, but when you have a 3/3 charge for 3, I feel like you can get on the offensive in the control matchup, and that can give you a lot of strength because it forces your opponent to react to what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. And you have many strong dragon cards, say for example, Blackwing Corruptor, which is a 5/4 on 5 mana and deal 3 damage when you have a dragon, and that's a very good removal in my opinion.
Yeah. Very reliable. Getting the 5/4 body in addition to being able to take something of theirs off the table can be very good. Overall, I mean, having played a lot of Dragon Mage on ladder, having tried some of these new decks, I have to say that one of the best things about this is that with cards like Twilight Guardian, allowing you to play more dragons in your deck more comfortably, Blackwing Corruptor just becomes so much stronger, and you suddenly have this answer, you suddenly have this not only is it an answer to deal with some of these early drops, it can also function as a threat. And ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we are gearing up. Of course, they have swapped places. So Neo is actually on the left-hand side, Kenson actually on the right, and
Kenson is now on the left side? Yeah, Kenson is on the left-hand side, and Neo is on the right-hand side.
Okay.
So now we're seeing on Neo's screen, because Neo is the only player who plays Hunter.
Okay, so this is interesting. This is looking a little bit like mid-range Hunter as far as lists go. We can't be sure. It could still be a more aggressive.
Yeah, it's definitely mid-range Hunter.
Yeah, Savannah Jaime gives that one away.
I would say Neo has a little bit of the advantage against Kenson Sandlock here.
Well, the big issue is that in the early game, there's really not a whole lot that Kenson can do right now with Handlock. He has to just kind of wait for a Twilight Drake, hope to get value off the Hellfire here in the early game, but Mortal Coil is just so inefficient against a lot of these low drops. May be able to draw a card if that Web Spinner does come down, but not very effective against Haunted Creeper, not very good against the Mad Scientist, and unfortunately too, now that all these Death Rattle threats are on the board, Hellfire not the best card for clearing out.
And Neo will still have 2-1-1 on the board, even if Kenson's Hellfire clears the board. And obviously, there's a lot of ways for Neo to finish off a Handlock using Kill Command and his hero power as well.
Kill Command, of course, being picked up here, and that's going to be huge. Misha, maybe not the best for the aggressive draw, but a 4-4 body is still pretty powerful. Generally, you prefer to get the board, the 4-2 aggressive start, or you prefer to buff your own creatures, at least in my experience with this deck.
I would like Hoffer. 4-2, you go face and take 4 damage. It's not relevant even if it's killed next turn. It gets killed next turn. And I think Neo plays pretty strong because he's playing on curve. He played 2-2 Mad Scientist on board, and then followed by the Haunted Creeper, and then the 3 mana Animal Companion. And we see Kenson has no choice but have to taunt up his Ancient Watch to prevent taking more severe damage from Neo's board.
Definitely a good spot. No way to disable that guy, unfortunately. Silence, of course, not very effective in this situation either, because if you do decide to silence that Ancient Watcher, suddenly it's now a very aggressive threat to the rest of your board state. So, big question is, how is he going to deal with it here?
I think he's going to use his Kill Command. All right, an interesting play. So he decided to save the Kill Command for face damage.
The issue coming in here, obviously, is that if you do 1 damage to Mishra here, he can then use Hellfire to clear the board, but Hellfire, the big disadvantage, of course, is going to take away from his own life total as well. However,
but I think he has no choice but have to use Hellfire here.
And that's the spot he's in. Unfortunately, we talk about this. You've got the Web Spinner on the board. You've got a Secret mounted up. You've got, Kill Command. You've got...
So he decided to draw a card before Hellfiring. And, the Beast. It's not the best, or not the best.
Really want something with charge here, or something that can get through a lot of those taunt guys. And obviously having a very powerful minion is important, but may not always be the best.
All right, this turn Neo has a pretty weak play. He cannot play any minion on board, but just have to hero power and then pass the turn. But we see Kenson has a Molten Giant waiting in his hand. So if Neo is not careful enough, or maybe he should consider about this. But Kenson has a chance to turn over the board if he can play his Molten Giant in a key turn. Alright, so he decided not to wait, but played it now.
Of course, Hunter's Mark going to come in huge here. Will allow them to take out that Molten Giant with relative ease, although I don't know if it's big as concern as the Savannah Jaime does come down. May want to wait here, even if Molten Giant, no, going to take it out now.
So you want to face it?
Essentially, he's just forcing,
Yeah. I think this is a good play because he don't want to, getting it to clear your Savannah Jaime. You don't want to give him any chance to clear board. Savannah Jaime is very resilient.
Of course, Dr. Boom, a powerful drop.
But now it's C. There's lethal already. So Savannah having going for a face, Q command, and quick shot. Neo taking the first game of the series.
A commanding win for Neo. Base Hunter, well, not even Base Hunter, mid-range Hunter, playing a lot like Base Hunter that game, ripping through the hand-lock deck list, and looking really powerful here. As we look towards game 2, you have to wonder how are they going to adapt, because mid-range Hunter, we talked about this. Are they going to pick up something new? Are they going to stick to those classic, older kind of deck lists from the earlier metagame? And it looks like they're sticking with the older deck list, and it's working out very well. Mid-range Hunter, still so oppressive. Obviously, Hamlock, a pretty bad matchup, though, in that exchange.
Indeed, but it is a little bit disappointing that we don't see any new cards in the first game.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is there any chance we can see more new cards from TGT expansion for the following games? Or maybe next game? Maybe there's a lot of good cards against aggro in the TGT expansion.
Definitely, and I think that he's going to have a lot of those answers in his next deck list. Obviously, trying to bust something out against Handlock, or Handlock is not maybe the best choice. Yeah, and we'll have to see how they adapt here. But of course, coming into this game, Kenson was looking pretty confident. We're going to have to see exactly how he felt. We will cut to an interview video, and then we'll be right back here with game 2. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere.
See you soon. I don't know what kind of, what do they play?